Right, we are moving into not only non-fiction, but we are moving into science. And this marvellous book, marvellous, absolutely spectacular book, is one that I originally borrowed from the library and I read, and I loved it so much that I went on the internet and I bought it, and then when I got it, I read it again. It was absolutely spectacular. It's 15 out of 5 stars. It's like, what can I say? So, yes, I have a marine biology degree and invertebrates are my thing. So this was never not going to work for me, but it was also beautifully written, spectacularly easy to bond with the author and the subject matter. So it was just marvellous. I loved every page. It's absolute standout book. Okay, so Edith Widder, who is a scientist that I've actually encountered in a few other books. She's been mentioned a few times over the years in various peripheral things. But this is her story about herself. And she has had an amazing life and some phenomenal experiences. As a postgraduate, she worked in bioluminescence in marine dinoflagellates, a position which she almost stumbled upon. And this was the start of a long life, which she's lived mainly through marine bioluminescence. The story about her, there's a bit about her to begin with. She had complications from surgery early on in her life and it caused her to go temporarily blind. And she has vision challenges. So for someone with vision challenges to have done this much in science is impressive. But for someone with those sorts of challenges to have actually gone on board oceanographic ships and do research is spectacular. She was part of developing a whole heap of technologies to sample various things at depths. Phenomenal life. Yes, so a lot of the book revolves around the various fascinating and exciting trips that the author has been on. Various ships, various oceans, down to the deep, darkest ocean depths. They usually revolve around trips in small subs, and she describes in intoxicating detail the beauty and the mystery of bioluminescence in the deep sea, which can never not be fascinating. There's a fair bit of science in it for the people who actually like the science, but it isn't absolutely integral to the story. So if you're not that much into reading the science facts, then I think you can probably enjoy it as well. Can I just say, look, huge squid in the depths, glowing, amazing. Sorry. So I love the details. The beginning of the book, a bit about the author, how she came to be doing the bioluminescence. This part, which I believe must have been the hardest for her to write, was fun to read. While I understand that a lifetime of scientific writing is hard to get over, because scientific writing basically tends to obviate any personal from your writing style. As an undergraduate, you'll get marked down. In your first postgraduate, you need to make it generic. I believe that's becoming less so these days. These days you will see scientific writing where there's a bit more personalization, but Edith is probably closer to my generation, so she would have had to get back into putting a sense of the person into her writing. I agree with the publishers. Having a sense of the person one is reading about makes a book far more relatable. She had difficulty with it, but she did damn well. This person sounds wonderful. The occasional geeky references and sly humours that sneak into the narrative make me think that Edith would be a great person to sit down with a bottle of red wine, have a drink and chat. Her anecdotes, she's got so many of them and they are so good. So this book is gold in another way. There's so few authors out there who can write about the ocean with respect, fascination, understanding. And I get such joy from the ocean and such joy from marine environments. It's wonderful to find someone who not only shares that joy but can write it, because that can be quite tough. There aren't too many of them out there. So yes, is it for everyone? Not sure. It starts with a solid grounding regarding vision, physiology, light, and all the other vital stuff to understanding bioluminescence. I enjoyed it considerably. Like I said earlier, I think the author did an excellent job of giving just enough science but never too much. I think it's been written and phrased at a basic enough level that any popular science reader at least should be able to follow along easily. But it's hard for me to judge. My opinion obviously is biased from my background, and because I do have a background in some of these things, they're not all of them, I've sometimes found myself considering popular science books to be really easy where other people will find them more difficult. It might be if you've never read any bioscience, it'll be hard, but I do think it's probably worth it. The adventures are amazing. Dan Brown novels are less thrilling for me than this. Starting with the first deep sea diving was on the Wasp. Basically a huge rigid cylinder on a rope tether in which the operator was lowered all alone into the dark depths. Can you just imagine it? Wow. You don't need to imagine it. It's described for you. The last trips described were on luxury yachts because she'd become a better known scientist and there was more backing. There were multiple person subs buzzing around in the deep sea to film documentaries. There are descriptions of first sighting bioluminescent animals never before seen, engineering solutions to filming them, and lots of other things that I personally found really, really exciting in my science geek way. The small things thrilled me too. When they see animals for the first time, and they describe so many animals for the first time, so many discoveries of bioluminescence, migrations, vertical and horizontal, invertebrate displays before the experiences in this book were never known of. So many of them have been discovered since I did marine biology, so many of them were completely new to me as well. The whole process of learning more about the denizens of the deep was amazing. In the back of my mind, small gears were turning. I mean, on one hand, because I never made it as a marine biologist, I'm a little bit envious and awed by anyone who did, but I'm totally aware of all of the stuff that happened behind the scenes of this book, all the years of applying for grants and being knocked back, all the thousands and thousands of hours into writing articles and having to rewrite them, all the data analysis and all that stuff that is behind the exciting bits that we got to read about. Maybe I got the best part of the deal after all. Maybe not. So this woman's life work has been truly inspirational. If people are looking for inspirational women, I don't think you need to look any further. I'm so happy that there are strong, dedicated women like this who have made a career in marine biology, and reading their amazing stories of lifelong discovery in the marine environment is the next best thing to having done it myself. I especially loved her message of we must do a better job of helping people understand what it means to live on an ocean planet. More specifically, what it means to live on a few little dry islands surrounded by a vast watery world that we know surprisingly little about. Because the ocean is the single most fascinating thing this world holds, and without it there and healthy, the rest of the world as we know it ceases to exist, or as Sylvia Earle said, no blue, no green. So for any ocean lover, I think you should try this book. For any science lover, there's so much here. And for anyone who wants to read a truly inspirational story of a scientist's life work, this is for you.